So you didn't want to wear an apron in case it got food on it?
Yeah, mine
Even though that's the point of having an apron.
Standard so
so Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a fruit cake. Now these are really extravagant and they look dead fancy, but the actual recipe is so easy to master. Like, if you've never baked a cake, honestly you'll be able to do this one because it is literally an all-in-one method and you just throw it in and then hope for the best. I'll show you some photos of previous ones I've done. Now I've never had any experience doing these before, and my mother and I literally just did it on a bit of a whim. I wanted one for my 21st birthday, but I didn't want to pay the price because they charge so much money for them. So we thought we'd do our own, and yeah, those were the results. So the recipe for the sponges that we use is actually from Delia Smith. It's from this cookbook. I'm not actually sure on the name because, as you can see, it's pretty old. Anyway, it seems to work really well, so let's get going. So because we've got to do 4 tiers, that means we're going to do 2 plain sponges and 2 chocolate sponges. So I'm first going to do the plain ones. So this is for 2 sponges, not 1, by the way. So I'm just going to double up the quantities that Delia Smith's given us. So that means with the soft spread, we're going to go to 220. So just add this into a large mixing bowl. Okay, so I've got 220 of this, the soft spread that is, and then in a separate bowl I'm going to weigh out the sugar. Just use normal caster sugar for this. There's mine. So I'm using, again, 220, so that's pretty easy. You can add the sugar straight to the soft spread, and then in this bowl we're going to go onto the self-raising flour. Oh, that's really heavy. Let's go everywhere now. So again, we need 220 of this. It's really easy at the moment, all the same quantities. I'm going to add the baking powder straight to the flour, so we need 2 teaspoons for this one. Now we're going to add the flour and the baking powder to the sugar and the margarine, or the soft spread, whichever you're using. Make sure that you sieve the flour, this is really important. All done. Now we're going to add 4 eggs. You can either do it separately in a different bowl. If you're feeling brave, just crack them straight into this one. And I'm feeling brave. So I managed to do that without getting any eggshells in, which is, I'm pretty pleased with that. So now we're going to add some vanilla essence. It says 2 to 3 drops, but I'm just going to put a teaspoon in because I think that makes it a bit easier to follow. So now I've got all the ingredients in this bowl. It's, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory, all in one. You're just throwing it all in, and then you just get a whisk, and the whisk will do all the hard work. Start off on a slower setting, just until it's combined a little bit more before you then put it on full power, because you don't want the flour going straight into your face. So I sometimes just give it a bit of a stir like that, just to get the eggs a bit mixed in the flour, and then let's go. Oh, it's not turned on. It'd help if I turned it on. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, just mix the bits in from the side with a spatula.
Okay, so my mother's given it the seal of approval. Now, for some reason your mixture is a little bit dry, just add in some warm water. So just a little tip, when you've finished whisking, it should hopefully look like this. Most of the time when you've done with your whisk, you'll just bring it straight out, like you'll turn it off in the mixture. To get rid of the excess, just turn it on a really low power in there and just gently lift it out like that, just slightly above the mixture, don't bring it straight out, and then hopefully you'll have a cleaner looking whisk. Now this is all done, you are literally ready to get it straight in the oven. So preheat the oven to 170 degrees. These are 8-inch baking tins. Just got a little bit of grease-proof paper and grease them with some butter. You can use any spread really. We just put it straight in and we'll just use our eye to hopefully get them similar. Use a spatula, it's a lot easier to get the leftovers from the side, and you can just then smooth it so it's quite flat on top. So now we're going to put these in for about 25 minutes, then we'll check them, see what they look like, and whilst these are in the oven we will start on the chocolate ones. So the cakes have just come out of the oven and they were about 25 minutes, so I do really suggest that you check them. And as you can see, it's got a nice spring to it. They both look great. So now these ones are done, we can move on to the chocolates. Put them in a tin for about 5 minutes because they're going to be quite hot now. And then once that time is up, go and put them on a cooling rack. We're going to go on to the chocolate sponges. And first things first, get some cocoa. Weigh out 30 grams into a small bowl. Once you've got your 30 grams of cocoa, you're going to add some boiling water. Now you can do it at a spoon at a time. And the aim here is to make it into a paste. So, army crawl on the floor if you don't want to be in the background. Why?
Yeah, you have to remove the sound so it doesn't sound squeaky.
Yes, Rob, thank you. So this is what it should be like, the consistency. As you can see, it is pretty thick. It's not falling from my spoon when I tip it upside down. See that in the bowl? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the original recipe, but there's going to be a few slight changes. Anything in the bowl, I thought instead of being lazy like I was before and just trying to measure out the sponges by eye, I'll do it the more mathematical way. So this bowl weighs 119 grams. So I'm going to write that down. So I've not got a very good memory. Got a memory like a sieve. Baking from there. So we need 220 of the spread again. So now we've got the spread in the bowl. I'm going to add the paste that we have just made. I'm just going to whisk these together. Again, start on a slower setting and then build up. So they should be combined to look like that. And then I'm going to continue with the rest. So back with my smaller bowl. I'm going to add 220 of the caster sugar. I'm going to add this straight into the large bowl. When it comes to adding the self-raising flour, because we've had the 30 grams of cocoa, we now have to subtract that from this. So instead of it being 220, it's going to be 190 of this flour. We're going to add the baking powder. Again, add 2 teaspoons. And now we're going to sieve this back in to the larger bowl. Oh no, just dropped my whisk everywhere. We don't need to add vanilla essence because we've got the cocoa flavouring. That just leaves us with the eggs. Okay, so now we've got all the ingredients. I'm going to get my whisk, give it a little stir again, just to combine it a little bit so the flour isn't going to spray me in the face. Excuse my dogs in the background. My spatula and just go around the edge a little bit. So a little bit of flour that's not quite got in. I made such a mess of this bowl. Oh my gosh, all the sides. My dog. I want a feature role in this video. And then because I've weighed it, I can actually weigh this mixture now and try and do some maths on the spot. This is not my strongest point, so please do not judge me. Just weighed the mixture. It's about, what did I write down? 1,070. So taking away the 118, that leaves us with 952. And then I'm going to divide that by 2, which will give me 476. I think that's right. I'll have to check that on my phone. A little bit of maths there. I've not done that since school, I swear. So now I've got the mixture. I'm going to pour it into the tins using a scale. It's not turning on. I'm having loads of problems with my scales. They're just not working, but I think I might have got it. So I'm going to put 476 grams of this into the tin. So I've got 476 in that one. Grab my next one, and I think I'm just going to suppose I should be exact and put this back on. Just going to move this tin out of the way. So that's actually gone really wrong, because that says it's got 268 in, so I'm not really sure what's happened here. This is why I just usually do it by eye. It gets really complicated when you stop messing about. I've obviously just not done it very well.
It's about the same depth.
Are you sure?
Well, nobody will ever know when it's sandwiched together. We'll see what it looks like when it's layered. Good salt.
I've got them both measured up. Should hopefully be pretty similar. I've just had to kind of mix and match a little bit. They look quite even. So I'm going to put these in the oven for about 20-25 minutes. Again, 170 degrees, and then hopefully they'll turn out like the other ones. Just got the chocolate ones out the oven. They've got a nice spring to them. Now, don't panic, like this one's gonna risen a little bit, because I'll show you in the next stage of baking how we get them flat. We will literally just chop that off, because you need the layers to be extremely flat when we're putting them on top of each other. But they're both done, they're both cooked fine. So again, leave them for 5 minutes in the tins, and then we'll go put on the cooling rack, ready for the next part. Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2. Now we're going to be focusing on the icing and the decorations today. I'm going to start with making a meringue buttercream icing. This will be covering the cake, and it is slightly more difficult, but just follow these steps and hopefully it won't be too hard. So what we're going to do is add 200 grams of caster sugar and then 3 egg whites. My mum's already done mine for me. And then we're going to take a heat-proof mixing bowl, so make sure yours is heat-proof or this won't work very well. And we're going to take it over to a pan of simmering water, and we're going to just put it on top and then just keep on whisking it until it dissolves, the sugar that is, for about 5 to 8 minutes. So after about 5 minutes, it should look quite runny, the icing. And if you do have a sugar thermometer, try and get it to 60 degrees. So this is all done, and now we'll go on to the next stage. So now we've got the mixture all nice and warm. What we've got to do is transfer it to a cold bowl, and then from there we're going to whisk it for about 5 minutes, just until the mixture gets quite firm and stiff. My arm aches so much after holding that whisk. It's like arm day at the gym. So that's what the mixture currently looks like. So it's got the quite firm peaks, it's very glossy in colour. Now the next stage is adding the butter. So you've got to do it piece by piece. So add a piece, whisk it all in, make sure it's completely gone, then add another piece. So you just... 250 grams. And you need 250 grams of butter, so it's pretty much a whole pack. So make sure the butter's really soft, as then it'll blend in a lot easier. And as you're adding the pieces, make sure that it's incorporated before you add the next one. So my mum's pretty much just helping me out with that bit. My arm aches so much from doing that, but that's just because I don't do arm day at the gym. I know it seems really long and it is a massive faff, but honestly, this tastes so nice and it spreads really easily over the surface of the cake. And if you want to add colour, do that now. So you could make it pink, blue, whatever you fancy. We're going to leave ours plain. And now we're going to cover it in cling film and put it in the fridge for 20 minutes to chill. And I will get on to making the other buttercream icing. So now we're going to make the buttercream icing. This will be going inside the cake on each of the layers. I use a dairy-free butter, but honestly it's up to you what you want to use. Like I say, 200 grams of this, and then we're going to double it for the icing sugar. So if you put 100 grams of this in, it's 200 of this. You can do the maths. So I'm going to do 200 of this. Now because I want to make mine chocolate flavour, I'm going to add a couple of spoons of Nutella, and then I'm going to mix that into the butter. So that looks like that. And now I'm going to get the 400 grams of icing sugar. So I'm going to sieve this into the mixture. Thank you. And do it a little bit at a time. And then whisk it. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And I'm going to go put this in the fridge, and then we'll start with the sponges. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the sponges. Now make sure you get a flat one for the bottom and the top, always prioritise that. We've just kind of chopped ours, as you can see, a little bit to make it really flat. And you don't have to do this, but I like cutting into a cake, and you know when you have like food falling out, chocolate falling out, such as Maltesers. Dead simple to do. All you have to do is get a biscuit cutter. Remember, the larger you go, the more chocolate you're going to have to fill it with, so don't go too large. And then you're just going to cut into the sponge. Do it on 2 sponges if you're doing a 4-tier cake, and then just do it on 1 sponge if you're doing it a 3-tier. You can keep this sponge and like stick candles in it. Again, you can cover it with any leftover icing and decorations. So I'm going to layer mine with Nutella, then I'm going to also do a jam layer. But for the bottom one, I'm going to put Nutella on. Use a spoon or a knife, whichever you're more comfortable with, and just spread it on. Ooh. My mum's put it on for me because I don't trust myself. And then I'm going to put jam on this layer. Thank you. And my mum warmed this up in the microwave. It just makes it a little bit easier to spread it on. Go. Isn't too bad. And make sure to put the chocolate in. Do it straight away so you don't forget. Oh no. There. As you can see, we've got loads of buttercream left over. You can freeze it, can't you?
We have, yeah.
Yeah, we've frozen it before and it's been absolutely fine. Tasted great when we've defrosted it, so just freeze it if you don't want to eat it.
Here.
No? Mom, put the spoon.
No, spoon of it looking icing, not a spoon itself.
What do you meant? Okay, so now we're going on to the icing around the edge of the cake. We're getting out the meringue buttercream that we made earlier, and my mum's doing it because I'm not very good at it. I feel like I get crumbs in it all the time. And we're just using a palette knife to go around the edge. What we've done is we transfer a little bit of this mixture into a separate bowl. It's just so the knife doesn't directly go into this one and transfer crumbs.
Yeah, you get a lot of crumbs on the first layer.
Because on the first layer you will get quite a lot of crumbs. That's my mother just pointed out. So yeah, I'll leave her to do that. Do you want some, Binky? Do you want some? Just some cake? Do you want some cake, Binks? Do you want some, Bracken?
Oh, that is so wicked. Oh.
Now it actually looks, so now it looks like a naked cake, and some people actually like that kind of authentic-y look, rustic I guess you could say. So this is what it looks like, and now we're going to go put it in the fridge to cool before making the ganache to do the drip icing, which we will show you in a minute. Now we're going to make the ganache. I've already started with 200 grams of Cook's Belgian dark chocolate. I've chopped it really finely, and then I'm going to get 200 ml of double cream, and I'm going to bring that to the boil. Whatever grams you use in chocolate, you use the exact same in mils, so it's quite straightforward. So as you can see, I've kind of tried to put it through the handle. Now I saw on Twitter that that's actually what that gap's for. I'm not sure how reliable that is, but it seems to work and it stops the chocolate going too much over the side. So a little tip there. So the double cream is boiling, and I'm just going to pour it on the chocolate like that. Bit of a shake to cover it all. And now I'm going to leave it, how long?
A minute.
So now I'm going to leave it for about a minute. It's been about a minute, so now I'm going to start stirring the mixture and just make it really thick and glossy, hopefully. So it's still a little bit lumpy, so I'm just going to put it in the microwave for 10 seconds and then mix it and then see what I'm left with. So this is what it looks like. The chocolate's all melted in. Now the next part, you've got to leave it to cool, so it's obviously not going to melt any of the icing on this cake. but then we don't want to put it on right now because it's still a bit too hot. So what I'm going to do is, it seems quite thick, the consistency, and it's not going to run all the way down. So I'm just going to go around the edge little by little. It's easy to start off little, you don't want to put loads on and then realise that you've kind of made a bit of a mess of it. And you can also build it up a lot better that way. If you want to be really neat, you can put in an icing bag, but I just prefer to do it this way, it saves a bit of time. So now we're going to decorate the cake. This is the fun bit, all the hard work kind of leads up to this. And there are two ways you can decorate the cake. I would suggest doing it whilst the ganache is still quite tacky because you want the decorations to stick on it, you don't want them to fall off. Now the first way you can do it is from a bird's eye point of view, as though you're looking down on the cake, and that means that everything's going to be symmetrical. The second way you can do it is you start off with bigger chocolates at the back and then you gradually go smaller. For this one, I'm probably going to do a bird's eye point of view one just because I've not got loads of chocolate. The best way to start is, I never know how to start them, I literally just start throwing it on, usually have a bit of a meltdown like, oh my god, it looks awful, then just honestly just keep piling it on and it will eventually come together. So I'm going to get the candle, I'm going to put that right in the middle, and then I'm just going to start experimenting a little. I've got a bit of fruit, raspberries, blueberries, and things like Ferrero Rochers. I think they look really nice, or Ferrero Rochers, not sure the pronunciation there. They look really nice left in the wrapper, they add a bit more colour. And little tip, you don't have to spend loads of money buying loads of packets of chocolate. Go to Poundworld, is it Poundworld? Poundland. Go to Poundland and you can get these big bags for £1. Okay, so I've just finished decorating the cake. As you can see, when I do it, I just, put a few things on. I sometimes take them off if I don't like the look of it. There is no right or wrong way. And I don't actually pre-plan it, I don't sit down and think, okay, this is what the design's going to look like. I'll be honest, I don't even really have a vision in my head. I just start doing it and then hope for the best. Being a chocolatey cake, I really don't think people are going to complain about what you bring to them. I would say try and add a few different colours, so white, milk, dark chocolate. I've got the fruit, the raspberries and the blueberries, and then the Ferrero Rochers, really need to look at the pronunciation. So I think that brings up the colour of the cake. And yeah, it's not that serious, it's meant to be fun, don't stress yourself out doing it. And I've not done it on this cake, but you can also stick into the side of the cake. I don't really want to ruin it, but because the buttercream's still quite soft and it's almost like a glue, you can just stick it on. And that will stay there, but I don't want that, so I'm just going to get a knife and clear that up. But yeah, so this is what the cake looks like. I'll show you a different angle. And also, the finishing touch, honestly, just do this with any cake, is put edible glitter on. It just brings it all together, and it also looks really nice when you've got the flash on, if people are taking photos. It is that finishing touch you need. So I'm just going to use a knife and then sprinkle it on. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to make a fruit cake, and if you've watched all the way through, well done. I know it was quite a long one, however I wanted to get every single aspect covered so you can go away confidently and hopefully make one yourself. If you do, please send me your photos. I want to see what creative results you come up with. I'm pretty sure I can do it. You can definitely do it a lot better. And yeah, let me know how it goes for you. If you do have any questions, just drop them below in the comments. And yeah, follow me on Instagram, I'll drop that handle below. And if you like the video, you know, give it a like. If you want to subscribe to my channel, that's great too. I've got loads more videos coming up, baking ones, skincare, that kind of thing. But like I say, thank you so much for getting this far. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely day.